Hey Jim, how are you today?
I'm fine, Valerie. How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to see you again. Um, how's your week been?
Good.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with any more anxiety issues?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we can. I have a new assignment for you today that we're going to work on to try to help you with that. Last week we focused on CBT a lot, and was that very helpful for you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. And do you feel that you were able to practice some of those techniques that we discussed throughout the week?
Yeah, I was. I
Okay.
was able to do it.
And it helped?
It did. It did help a lot.
Awesome. Okay. Before we get started on this particular assignment, I do have an informed consent form for you. It's kind of like the other one that I gave you at the beginning of our sessions when we first started meeting. But again, I just want to go over just some of the basics of this particular assignment that we're doing. And so that just kind of gives you some information if you'd like to read over that. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
No, I'm familiar with this.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, very familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
See a lot.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. One.
Okay. So, you said you were able to use some of the techniques we discussed last week. So, was there anything in particular that caused you anxiety that you want to talk about today?
I have chronic pain. I deal with chronic pain a lot. It causes me a lot of anxiety.
Okay. Describe like a particular situation.
Just pretty much any type of situation that requires me to like have to think or concentrate for long periods of time. It's kind of hard to do that whenever I'm experiencing chronic pain at the same time. I lose thought. I get frustrated. Stuff like that.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, so was there a time that you were experiencing this chronic pain and you had anxiety as a result of it, like a particular incident that you can describe for me, like not generalized, but like pinpoint an issue. It's fine. He's starting to stop.
There was a situation where I was at work and I was doing multitasking a car deal, and my supervisor came up to me and wanted to talk about some aspects of the car deal, and it was just really hard to maintain my thought, maintain the numbers, to maintain my composure, kind of with all that coming at me at the same time. It caused me extreme anxiety to the point where I had to dismiss myself.
Okay. So, okay, we're gonna keep that situation is perfect. So we're gonna keep that in mind right now, and then this is how we're gonna fill out this form here. So this is part of the DTR, and so like you just described your situation. So what actual events or stream of thoughts or daydreams or recollection led to this unpleasant emotion? So your emotion was maybe embarrassment.
Yeah, I guess. I just couldn't keep it together, so I needed to just get out of the situation.
Okay, so panic, maybe.
Panic, yeah.
Panic's an emotion.
Yeah,
I believe.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Okay, so probably. Okay, so for this part, let's see, that's the situation. So we would put that there. And then what, if any, distressing physical sensations, heart racing, headache did you have? So then just fill that out there. And then if you can just continue to do that throughout here.
For that same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe so. Yes. And then we will, if you want to write those down, then we'll discuss. I'm just going to leave this door cracked and I'll be right back.
Okay.
And if any time you feel confused about that, just let me know and I'll help you fill it out.
Okay. Cognitive distortions. What does that mean? So it's what describe what cognitive distortions. Is that how I blew the situation out of proportion? Is that what that means? Things that I see about the situation that are causing me panic.
Yes. Have a yes. Have a list of cognitive distortions. But let me look it up for you real quick. Give you some examples. So I did not bring my folder with me today. So cognitive distortions are selective abstraction, drawing conclusions on the basis of just one of many elements of a situation, personalization, thinking this is my fault, magnification, making a mountain out of a molehill, overgeneralization, like making sweeping conclusions based on a single event. Um, Arbitrary interference, drawing conclusions when there is little or no evidence. Or minimization, downplaying the importance of a positive thought, emotion, or event. Saying like, I'm useless, I'm inadequate, I'm a
I
failure.
think most of mine was the arbitration thing.
Arbitration, okay, drawing conclusions when there is little or no evidence. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably doing a good job. It's just like I feel like this with my panic and how everything's going, just when like I'm surprised if somebody comes and jumps in that situation. It's just get flustered. It just because
Okay. Okay, so put that there. And then I have some questions for you.
arbitration.
Arbitrary thought.
I don't know how to spell that.
Just do the best you can. Arbit. Ary.
Distortion.
Interference. Okay, so then, where it says to ask the questions. So, question could be, what is the evidence the automatic thought is true?
What is the evidence that this the distortion?
Your I guess your fear that you're fearful that they're not doing they think you're not doing your job.
Right.
Okay, so what evidence is there that thought is true?
Most of the time, the leadership, the leaderboard, the standard board will show that you're not keeping up. They have a board there that shows your level that you're on. Most of the time, you're behind on your level.
Are you typically behind on your level, or are you?
No, but how it's set up at my work, it's such a competitive level that it's day to day. So every day it's like the same amount of pressure as the day before.
Okay.
Especially like a 30-day or 29-day run of pressure.
So, is there an alternative explanation for your fear?
Yeah, I would say it's probably just my own personal anxiety that I'm dealing with. Probably has nothing to do with work.
Okay. And so, what's the worst that could happen if you believe the automatic thought?
That I'm going to fail.
What's the best thing that could happen?
To believe it.
Yeah.
I could possibly get help for a situation that I need to get help with, like a mental disability or something like that.
Okay. What's the effect of believing it or not believing it?
Effect of believing it, it's caused interference in my work and my life in general.
And if you don't believe it, what happens?
It causes interference in my work.
It doesn't
and my
really
life,
matter,
and it
does
doesn't really matter, right? Yeah, because it's debilitating. You have to address it.
Right. So what should you do about it?
Seek help, counseling.
What would you tell a friend if he or she were in the same situation?
To seek help and get counseling.
And if they were, if they were getting counseling and they went back to work, what advice would you give them how to deal with that particular situation and feeling in that moment, how to overcome it?
Just to make sure that your boss, your supervisor, and everybody kind of knows what you're experiencing and what you're going through, and will be understanding when you have to maybe have a safe word or have something that you can say to them to make them immediately say, we need to shut this down. He needs to take a break. No judgment, no nothing, just break.
And was that something that you were able to accomplish?
No, I had not something yet.
Okay. Okay.
But not yet.
I think those are really good ideas. Do you mind if I see this for a second? I just kind of want to see where we're at here. Okay, and then just complete that last part on the outcome.
Just very proud.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe it. I'm 100%.
Was it just you or was it just Mom? What does that mean?
What will you do, or did you do? I don't understand the last part.
So what, like we talked about in the future, like what did you do to overcome that? What did you do to overcome that moment
I'm still working.
that you described? But in that particular moment, like what you just left, right? You
yeah,
left,
I
and
left.
you with no explanation,
No, I did eventually explain to them.
but not at the moment.
Not at the moment, no.
So you
I
just
left.
walked
I said
away.
I feel good. I gotta go. I gotta get up.
Okay, so I would put there just you just walked away, and in the future you would like to make them aware of your condition.
I'm gonna write all that on the back because I won't.
It's
forget.
fine, or you can just put safe word, or I like that term.
Milo. That's good, babe. Let's get me a really bad lady.
Okay, well, so yeah, I just kind of want to go over this with you, and if you don't mind, is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I know you're having a little bit of anxiety right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up for you. I know that was a lot to ask you to fill out the form. We talked about the multitasking while you're at work, and how the constant demand to be the leader on the board that's up for everybody to see creates a lot of anxiety, especially for someone who already has a condition with anxiety. I'm sure it creates anxiety for everyone, to be honest. But that's my opinion. It could be a motivating thing, but for you, it was very troubling. And so it was counterproductive. And so your heart racing, the irritation, dizziness, shaking, all that going on, and it would be understandable that your reaction would be to say, I don't feel good and I need to leave. And I really like your plan that you came up with to talk to your boss in the future. You said that your emotion of being scared and fearful was on a level of 0 to 100%. So that's pretty intense. And so I feel like, do you feel like this was helpful at all?
It kind of made me like actually go back over a situation that I was like involved in, where I was having a panic attack, and kind of look at it from the outside point of view, which made me kind of feel a little bit more positive on how I need to handle it in the future.
Okay.
I felt like at the time I did something wrong, but I probably handled it just right.
Okay.
For me anyway.
Right.
And my anxiety.
And I think that it's, I think you're on the right path by making these symptoms known, you know, to your boss, and hopefully they would be understanding about that. If that's something that, you know, you are comfortable with. And I know that that could create some, you know, anxiety as well, but, you know, I think it would be a good place to start. So, okay. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to talk with me about today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that that this was helpful for you, and sorry that it created some anxiety. But so I will meet with you next Wednesday at 1:00. Does that still work for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jim. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.